The wind howled through the frozen alleys of Chicago as Emma Riley pulled her thin jacket tighter around her trembling body. She hadn't eaten in 2 days, and her limbs ached from sleeping on concrete. People passed by, pretending not to see her. In a city of millions, Emma was invisible. That night, as she huddled near the steps of an abandoned building, she had no idea that her life was about to change forever. A black Rolls-Royce pulled up to the curb. Out stepped a man in a dark suit, his presence commanding even in the shadows. Alexander Knight, 32 years old, billionaire, ruthless in business, and known for getting whatever he wanted. He stopped in front of Emma, studying her with a curious expression. "You don't belong here," he said. Emma flinched, afraid. "I'm not looking for trouble." Alexander's lips curved into a half smile. "Neither am I." He paused, then said something that stunned her. "Come with me. I'll pay you." Emma blinked up at him. "Pay me? For what?" He crouched down to her level, his voice low. "For a fresh start." Inside the warm car, Emma listened numbly as Alexander explained. "I need someone to pretend to be my fiancé for 6 months," he said. "In return, I'll give you a place to live, clothes, food, and enough money to rebuild your life." Emma stared at him, heart pounding. "Why me?" Alexander shrugged. "Because you have no attachments, no family, no past that can be dug up. And if I say no," he handed her a card, "then I wish you luck out there." Emma looked out at the icy streets. She knew she wouldn't survive another winter. Her fingers tightened around the card. "I'll do it," she whispered. The next morning, Emma found herself in a penthouse apartment bigger than any building she'd ever slept nearby. She had new clothes, hot meals, and a warm bed, luxuries she hadn't dared dream about in years. But she also had rules. Strict ones. No going out without permission. No talking to reporters. No real feelings. "This is a business deal," Alexander reminded her. Emma nodded. But deep inside, she felt a flutter of something dangerous. Hope. At first, Emma and Alexander kept their distance. He was cold, reserved, and always busy. She was shy, grateful, and determined not to mess up. But as days turned into weeks, things began to shift. One night, after a charity gala, Emma found Alexander standing alone on the balcony, staring at the city lights. "You're lonely too," she said softly. Alexander turned, something raw flickering in his eyes. "You have no idea," he murmured. That night, they didn't touch. They didn't kiss. But something between them broke wide open. Emma gradually adapted to the luxurious life, but she never forgot the streets she came from. Alexander taught her how to walk, talk, and act like a high society fiancé. He hired a tutor for her, taught her about business, etiquette, and how to smile when she felt like crying. Late at night, after the world was asleep, Emma would sit by the massive windows and wonder, was she really living someone else's dream? Or had she stepped into her own nightmare? At public events, Alexander and Emma played their roles perfectly. Hand in hand, whispered conversations, stolen glances. The world believed their love story. The tabloids called them the fairy tale couple, but behind closed doors, it was different. One night, after a lavish party, Emma confronted him. "Why me, Alex? You could have anyone. A real heiress. A model." Alexander looked at her, expression unreadable. "Because you're real. Because you look at me like I'm a man, not a bank account." Emma's heart cracked open a little more that night. It was raining the first time Alexander kissed her. They had been arguing about something silly, a missed appointment, a forgotten charity dinner. Emma shouted, frustrated, and Alexander just stared at her, soaking wet, messy hair sticking to her cheeks. Without thinking, he cupped her face and kissed her. It was raw, hungry, a collision of two broken people trying desperately to feel something real. When they pulled apart, breathless, Emma whispered, "This wasn't part of the deal." Alexander's voice was rough. "It is now." Just when Emma thought she could trust Alexander, everything shattered. At a business party, she overheard two executives talking. "This whole thing is a setup," one of them said. "Knight's just using her to secure the Boston merger. Investors love a family man." Emma's blood turned to ice. Was she just a pawn in his game? Confronting Alexander that night was the hardest thing she'd ever done. "Tell me the truth," she demanded. Was I just convenient for you? Alexander hesitated, and that silence said everything. Emma packed her few belongings and left. Emma found herself back where she started, cold, hungry, and invisible. But this time, the streets felt different. Colder, lonelier. Because now she knew what love could feel like, and what betrayal could destroy. She found work at a small diner, washing dishes for a few dollars a day. At least here, no one could hurt her. At least here, she belonged. Weeks passed. One rainy night, as Emma closed the diner, she found Alexander standing outside, drenched. "Go away," she said, heart aching. He didn't move. "I was wrong," Alexander said. His voice cracked. "I was scared. I thought if I controlled everything, I wouldn't get hurt." He dropped to his knees, right there on the sidewalk. "I don't want control. I want you." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I don't need your money," she whispered. "I know," he said. "And that's why I love you." Slowly, Emma let herself believe again. She moved back into the penthouse, but this time, not as part of a deal. This time, as someone who was loved. Alexander canceled the business merger. He didn't need the investors anymore. All he needed was her. They built something real, messy, imperfect, but beautiful. Emma enrolled in college with Alexander's support. She studied business, determined to make something of herself on her own terms. A year later, Alexander proposed. Not at a grand gala, not with cameras flashing, but in the quiet diner where Emma once scrubbed floors to survive. On one knee, with a simple diamond ring, Alexander asked, "Will you marry me, Emma Riley?" Not because you have to, but because you want to? Tears streaming down her face, Emma laughed and cried at the same time. "Yes," she said. 1,000 times yes. As the snow fell outside and the city slept, two broken souls found the home they never thought they deserved, in each other's arms. And this time, no money in the world could buy what they had. Love. Real, messy, beautiful love.